I got the Platinum Trophy on Spider-Man Miles Morales, and it was actually a blast. This game really exceeded my expectations. I knew going into it after platinuming the first game that this game was shorter in terms of its story, but man, the gameplay of this game really made up for it. In total, this game has 50 trophies, including the Platinum, and PSN Profiles rates it a 3 out of 10 difficulty, 2 playthroughs, which is pretty annoying. It sucks that you have to do New Game Plus for the Platinum, and about 20 hours, and that's usually off by a little bit. It took me 25 hours to get the Platinum Trophy on this game, so strap in, guys, for the third ever Mario Kart Fan 101 Platinum Trophy. The game then instantly hits you with copyrighted music. Thank you, Insomniac Games, for getting my first stream demonetized, but that's besides the point. Miles gets a text from his mom, Rio, who's kind of fine, actually, but then Peter texts him saying that, yo, the convoy's on the way, so instantly they have you getting into the swing of things. We then meet up with Peter, and, you know, it's still going to take me some time to get used to the new Peter Parker model, but, you know, that's besides the point. Me and my goat, we go swinging, and we chase after this helicopter, which is carrying some precious cargo, who happens to be none other than Rhino. Very similar to the first game, they then give you an introduction to the combat mechanics, but then quickly, Rhino goes on a rampage throughout New York City, and we end up steering him through a shopping mall. Now, here I did end up missing the trophy because, you know, I don't really do research before I do these Platinum Trophy videos, so that's a trophy we'll be getting later on in the game. But we do get a trophy just for steering Rhino around the mall. Well, there's our first trophy, Rhino Rodeo. Ride Rhino through the mall. Then after that whole ordeal in the mall, we are stranded to fight a bunch of RAF goons on our own, and we come across Peter again, who has been absolutely throttled and steamrolled by Rhino, leaving us, a little old exaggerated swagger of a black teen, to fight Rhino by herself. And this early on in the game, they introduce you to the coolest mechanic in this game, which is the Venom Punches, which is basically Miles' like electric powers that he has from the comics and the movies, and we use this to inevitably beat Rhino. And here comes Simon Krieger, who is the leader of the Roxxon Company, and he looks an awful lot like Eddie Brock from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, but he is an important character who will come into play later on in the story. Peter then delivers the tragic news that he is going across seas to Europe to go help MJ write a news report, but he makes us take this oath of honor and also gives us a gift, which, part of me wishes that he just didn't at all. Now, regardless of how butt the suit is, we do end up getting our second trophy because of it. Next, we're introduced to these little combat modules that Peter left us. These are really similar to the screwball challenges, but actually way more enjoyable. We then investigate one of Simon's new form reactors, and basically his plan with this is that it is able to power all of Harlem, but in the end, ultimately, it's all just a cover-up for him to vaporize the entirety of Harlem. We are then introduced to the new faction in this game called the Underground, which has unknown origins, but eventually we learn about the leader of the Underground, known as the Tinkerer. After our little powwow with Roxxon, we go home for a nice family dinner for Christmas time, and we are introduced to Miles' mom, Genki, and, oh, sweet Neptune, it's Finn. Before we meet Uncle Aaron, we are awarded with a trophy for getting a subway system working again. Because of our great efforts, we're awarded with 10 Spider-Man activity tokens and we're able to craft our first suit mod. We are then introduced to the best character in this game, Uncle Aaron, and he quickly finds out that Miles is the new Spider-Man in New York City. It'll come important very later on in the story, but for the meantime, we get to hang out with Shawty Finn, and she's been gone for quite a long time, but she's unable to tell Miles exactly why she's been gone. But then literally in the next mission, we find out after Miles' mom, Rio's assembly gets interrupted once more. Sounds pretty familiar, huh? Then comes the Miles Morales bridge incident, which looks a lot like the PewDiePie bridge, but you know, that's a story for another day. And in this mission, we find out that the Tinkerer is Finn, which somehow makes her more attractive. After saving people from the bridge collapse, Roxxon no longer trusts us and views us as a threat, but thankfully our invisibility powers decide to kick in right there, and we get the frick out of there. But before all that, after saving the bridge, we do end up getting our third trophy. After Genki decided to actually take a break from playing Overwatch, he ended up getting a lead on a possible hideout that contains information about the Tinkerer and the Underground in general in this old, abandoned, fairy tale-looking castle building. In the hideout, we find it has a bunch of videos with Finn and also her brother Rick. And the whole reason that Finn is sought out after bringing down Roxxon is because Simon Krieger is responsible for the death of her brother Rick. Using that information we got from the hideout, we then decide to raid a Roxxon building. And here we are. Holy horseballs, it's Uncle Aaron, the Prowler. The whole point of us raiding this building was to find Finn's old phone that could possibly contain more evidence. And Unc, being the absolute legend that he is, guides us and allows us to do just that. After a couple bits of fisticuff getting out of there, Uncle Aaron learns that Finn is the Tinkerer, and he tells us to go to her as Miles, her friend, to sneak into the Underground and gain even more intel. I love what they did with Uncle Aaron and Prowler in this game. I will never stop raving about it. And doing this mission gives us our 6th trophy. Very similar to the first game, there are different visor mods and upgrades you can craft, and after crafting our first visor mod, we are awarded a trophy for it. I feel like I'd rather this one, actually. Oh, and there we go. There's a trophy. Taking Unk's advice, we meet up with Shoddy for coffee, and we basically just try to manipulate her and allow us into the underground. And their secret hideout, this is actually a cool little reference, is in Fisk Tower. You know, I love that memorabilia from the first game. Then the bombshell part of the story drops. Finn's brother Rick created the new form, but when they put it in Simon's reactors that he made, Simon pulled the trigger and basically killed Rick in the process. And after boxing our way out of a few more underground goons, we are awarded with a trophy for completing the underground undercover mission. Oh wow, that was clean. Okay, True Deception. Complete the vault sequence and underground cover. Genki, being the absolute king of unemployment that he is able to find a possible lead on where the actual new form is in this old abandoned like movie theater thing. But once we power up the machine, we realize that Finn has actually been duping the new form and making it even more powerful and plans to use it to destroy Roxxon Plaza. Hey, look at us go, we're saving the new form. And here comes Finn. If only she sat on my face. Wild goose chase time. We got to get that new form back from Finn. This sequence actually kind of reminds me of the one with Shocker from the first game. She ends up getting the upper hand on us, and right when she's about to kill Spider-Man, we quickly reveal to ourselves that we are the exaggerated swagger of a black teen. And then I kid you not, we look away and she's gone. I think she's just playing hard to get, but you know what? That's okay. She left us with the Velociskates trophy. Velociskates. Chase Tinkerer through the city. Ooh, this game's good, chat. Miles then meets up with Unk in order to get his mind off the whole Tinkerer being Finn dilemma and having to save the city. And Uncle Aaron actually gives us a flash drive that has a bunch of beats him and his dad, Jefferson Davis, did before their whole split up happened. And this becomes another collectible that we're going to have to do as the story progresses. Then we actually get a really sick bonding moment between Miles and the Prowler. And like I said, chat, I will not stop glazing what they did with the Prowler in this game. I absolutely love it. But Miles ends up splurging a little too much information about meeting Finn. And then at the end of this cutscene, we learn a little bit about Prowler.
Trinity Church. Remember, Tinker is yours. We'll leave the boy alone.
Okay, so, first of all, what the hell was that message that I read? We then meet up with Shoddy Finn, and she goes on about how she doesn't want us to lie to her, but she lied to us. It doesn't really make sense, but then we end up having a nice bonding moment until we are rudely interrupted by a reformed Rhino in new Roxxon merchandise. Like, did bro get a sponsorship or something? Rhino frickin' puts us to sleep with a right hook, and we end up waking up in a secret underground bunker under Roxxon facilities with Simon Krieger, and he starts giving us a whole yap session, but all I can think about is that Simon Krieger low-key looks like a younger, more American version of Gordon Ramsay. I'll never get that out of my head now. But then, we end up getting interrogated, and I couldn't just help but think about the one meme in this part of the game. 12:30, I was all alone, I can't be compromised. The exaggerated swagger was having enough of it. He must have built up enough rage that he was able to unleash an ultimate energy blast that even he could barely handle, but hey, it got us out of the electric chair and it got Finn out of the electric chair, which is really all that matters. Miles and Finn then conquest their way out of the Roxxon Plaza, but as we're walking out, we see our boy Uncle Aaron, the Prowler, in there, and right when it all seems like it's bad news, there's a small glimmer of hope that maybe Unk isn't as bad as we thought he was.
You agreed to leave the kid alone.
Uncle Aaron?
The kid. I love how you say that. It's just so paternal.
Let Spider-Man go, and I'll get you new form. Feed you underground intel, whatever you want.
So even though it looked like Prowler kind of sold us out, he actually didn't. He really did uphold his part of the deal. He just wants Finn. He wants Shoddy, but he wants us to be safe. So he does care about us, but Simon Krieger is just an absolute loser and ended up breaking the deal. And once more, Finn pulls out the trick card of playing hard to get. She begins to question if Miles would have ever called her and let her know that he was indeed Spider-Man. And as we're gaining intel on Gordon Ramsay, boom, we are rudely interrupted by Rhino. And now it's time to duke it out with the new sponsored Rhino. And this boss battle with Rhino is a huge upgrade from the first one. They make you Venom punch off his hashtag add armor, and then eventually he starts throwing tanks at you, but you Venom punch all the batteries from within him and throw it at him, and then from there you can actually deal damage with him. And after we beat Rhino with the power of friendship, we are awarded with a trophy. Oh, exploding bulldozer. Defeat Rhino? Yep. Defeat rocks on Rhino. Okay, here we go. Right when all the hope was there that we finally convinced that what Finn was doing was wrong, Rhino was able to gaslight her into thinking that Finn is the reason that her brother's dead and that Simon actually told Rhino about her brother's death. And this is enough to make her go full delusion mode again. She stabs Rhino with her sword and she turns our back on us again. Then we are going to finally go... Ow. Prowler? Unk? Unk? No, Unk. Unk.
Sorry about this, nephew.
Yeah, he shoots us out of the sky and puts us in a makeshift prison cell, but he does it all out of safety concerns. He doesn't want to lose Miles. He had a big falling out with Miles' family. He just simply doesn't want to see him get hurt. But Miles doesn't just want to sit down there when there's a current threat that he needs to take head on. So he busts out of the prison cell, and then we have a very uncomfortable fight with Unk. We do get a trophy here for beating Prowler, but honestly, this is an L moment from Miles right here. He realizes what he did wrong here and doesn't want his situation with him and Miles to turn out like him and Miles' dad. But Miles just leaves him there, stuck to the wall with a web. This is a fat L from Miles, and this isn't very family-like. And then comes the final battle with Finn, but before that, we end up walking through this hallway, and Miles has a nice little flashback to him holding hands with Finn. If only I was mine. I love this freaking filter thing in the camera. After stealing a piece of Oscorp tech to try and sneak into the elevator room, there's this cool reference which I might have geeked out over a little too much.
I'll attach the sticker.
You'll rest easy, knowing your secret's safe with me, Parker.
Miles and Finn find their own science fair project, and here comes Ricky Dicky Doodah Grimes. And we end up posting up for a selfie, and that is the end of the flashback. And then we start typing on the computer, and oh my gosh, she's right behind me, isn't she? And then she runs away, and we're left to fight with her bodyguards. But before that, we get the shared history trophy. And while we were doing that, Finn lollygagged her way over to Roxxon Plaza, planted the new form into the reactor, and is literally just about to vaporize Harlem. She doesn't realize it, so now, unfortunately, I've done the thing that I've sworn I would never do, and I have to engage in a fight with Shawty. With Miles still barely standing, we absorb the energy of the new form reactor, and now we are literally about to explode with all the energy. In a last resort effort, Finn takes Miles up to the sky, and Miles explodes all over her. Whoa. And then we get our trophy for completing the main story, and that is all of the main story achievements. Now it's time for cleanup, which includes some main story trophies that we missed. The first thing that I immediately started working on was getting the capsules. These are a lot like the backpacks from the first game, but as I was collecting these, I got a random trophy for riding a boat, which one of the capsules was on. Oh, I'm on a boat. Ride the derelict boat in southern Chinatown. And then shortly after, we got our trophy for getting all the capsules. Hey, Urban Explorers. There we go, chat. Collect all time capsules. Next, I went around all of New York City and got all the postcards that were hidden around for Miles' birthday. Hey, memory lane, chat. Collect all postcards. There we go. Then there was a few mysteries that needed to be solved, and we got a trophy once we cleared that case. Then we worked on some of the spider training modules, and we got a trophy for getting spectacular better in all of them. And then upon completing the last training module, we get a trophy for doing all the missions once. Hey, there it is. I was gonna say, we should get a trophy for that. And then as one last challenge, Pete has us fight this, like, hologram version of Vulture, where he gives his whole backstory on how Vulture was the first person he ever fought. Yeah! Pete's first villain. Complete the final test. J. Jonah Jameson would be proud of us here. We get a trophy for applying a filter and a sticker for a picture. Oh, there it is. JJJ would be proud. Apply sticker and customize lighting while in photo mode. I knew there was something. The next thing I tackled were the Prowler beats. These were scattered all across New York City, and it ended up creating one of the most awful things my ears have ever listened to. Man, this sucks! Oh, this is awful! Oh, bro, like, I think I'd rather be deaf right now. For anybody else who's trying to platinum this game, listen up. The 100-hit combo, the very notorious trophy, do it in the Combat Challenge 2.0. This turned out to be probably one of the easiest trophies in the game. Got it. Easy. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Reddit. We got a trophy for killing 50 enemies while camouflaged. And because I'm so skilled at finger blasting, I was able to beat Finn in this rocket launch minigame. Competitive spirit. Easy money. And then I went back to the very first mission of the game and finally got the trophy for smashing 15 objects in the mall with Rhino. We then paid our respects to Stan Lee. The man who literally created the greatest superhero ever. This is probably the strangest trophy in the game. You have to scroll through the social feed, which is basically like Spider-Man's version of Twitter. And after a good 45 seconds, you reach the bottom and get a trophy.
Nice, 69%.
Unlike the first game, crimes actually don't count towards sector progression. Rather, they're through the phone, and you have to get all the bonus objectives in order to get an actual completion trophy for it. I then started working on the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man quest, and I noticed this little cool thing in this one mission with the crane.
Yo.
After enough horseplay, I finally got the trophy. I was awarded with the Nowhere to Hide trophy after successfully performing 100 stealth takedowns. Then there's the Never Saw It Coming trophy, where you have to complete a base without getting detected. Needless to say, I was a little excited when I got this done on my second try.
That's everybody, right? I did it! I did it! I did it! Let's go! I wasn't recording, but I just did a Venom jump and then Venom dashed a bad guy. So, there's another trophy.
As I began to work on the bases and hideouts, I got the Overcharge trophy for doing 100 Venom punches. And then literally right after that trophy popped, I got the From Downtown trophy. And while we're on the topic of attack and base trophies, I get one right here for doing 25 ceiling takedowns.
Thank you. Oh, wow. From the rafters. Perform 25 ceiling takedowns. That was a lot easier than I thought.
For this next trophy, I'm going to phrase it as if this was 5th grade me. I administered a controlled shock to these two fellows and got the Trapped trophy.
You know, I did that once just to contribute to that trophy, but that's all I needed, chat. Trapped. Defeat 50 enemies with remote mine gadget.
Not long after that last trophy, I ended up getting my 25th wall takedown.
Come here. Oh, there it is. Climbing the walls. There we go. Perform 25 wall takedowns.
The underground was officially the above ground because I took out all their bases. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to stop now. And as I was panty raiding this last Roxxon base, I ended up getting the final underground cache. And then being greeted by the glorious sunset, we officially shut down the last Roxxon base. Heck yeah! I almost forgot to mention this trophy, but we ended up getting a new home after we did all the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man activities for 100%ing all the districts. As I was upgrading some of the gadgets, I got the Kit Bash trophy for upgrading 10 different gadgets. Just the beginning, I said to myself after getting the last skill tree upgrade.
Boom! Just the beginning.
I then got a trophy for putting on my first day of school outfit for acquiring all the suits in the game.
Ready for anything.
Then I had to play the whole game again. Huh? Yes, for some reason they put New Game Plus as a part of this game's Platinum Trophy. I don't know why. Hopefully Spider-Man 2 doesn't have it, but I'm willing to bet it does. Regardless, though, we beat the game on New Game Plus, and we were awarded the Plus Plus trophy for our efforts. And we only have one last trophy to do, which I thought would be fitting to send off this video. All we have to do is visit the grave of Miles' dad, Jefferson Davis.
Jefferson Davis, the perfect way to get a Platinum Trophy.
A bunch of raft escapees blocked off the street and took hostages.
Didn't even get to hear it, because Genki wouldn't shut his damn mouth. Why, he's literally the worst character in this video game. I can't stand him. There we go, chat. Be yourself. Be yourself. It is 11:30 at night. I'd probably normally yell at the top of my lungs, but my whole family's asleep right now. But there it is, chat. That about wraps up the Miles Morales Platinum Trophy video. This game actually really exceeded my expectations. I knew it was shorter going into it, but the gameplay made up for it. This game was actually a complete blast. Spider-Man 2 is going to be on the way eventually. And if you guys looked at the YouTube community page, you'll know the whole ordeal going on with the original first game. I did platinum it, but that's going to be a later video down the road. But yeah, guys, I appreciate y'all. All right, more videos on the way, more Platinum Trophy videos on the way. And yeah, I love you guys. I'll catch you guys next week. All right, peace.